Welcome back to the Icons with Rick Horrow. Each month we sit down for an extended interview with a leader in the world of sports. This month we're going to do something a little different. Icons this month focuses on one of the most iconic apparel brands in sports, U.S. Polo ASSN. The United States Polo Association is one of the oldest governing sports bodies in the United States, formed in 1890. Their official brand is U.S. Polo ASSN and is one of the biggest sports licensors in the world. This month, we sit down with the president and CEO of USPA Global Licensing, J. Michael Prince. He'll talk about his background and what goes into running a major sports brand. Let's get started by going inside the Icon. J. Michael Prince was born in Ada, Oklahoma, and spent much of his time growing up on a ranch in the southeastern part of the state. A lifelong lover of sports, Prince received his MBA at Duke and started his professional career in finance. Prior to his position at USPA, he worked in the leadership for other iconic brands like Converse, Nike, Guess, and Cole Haan. At US Polo ASSN, Prince oversees a $2 billion brand with a presence in 180 countries. US Polo ASSN is the fifth largest sports licensor in the world. It serves as the official brand of the sport of polo in the US and the United States Polo Association. We sat down with Michael at USPA GL headquarters in West Palm Beach. Thank you for inviting me into your very colorful home. Really appreciate it.
Rick, thanks for being here. It's good to have you.
Well, absolutely, thanks. And you know, when you consider your world, first of all, to run something like this and be involved in something like this requires somebody with real significant, diverse background, brand awareness, education experience. So kind of tell us how you got here.
You know, I was fortunate. When I started really getting involved with brands that are involved with sport, I cut my teeth at Nike, which is one of the greatest branded companies on the planet, maybe the greatest branded company on the planet, through their subsidiary Converse at the time. But I started with a financial background out of a small college in Oklahoma, worked at Price Waterhouse in public accounting, and was in financial services, got an MBA from Duke, but realized that there was something missing for me professionally. And I got this unique call from an old business school classmate saying, hey, Nike had just purchased Converse, and I love Converse, the Chuck Taylor brand, and said, we're looking for someone to come run our finance department. Would you be interested? And I thought, you know what, Nike's not a bad company. Converse is a great brand. Let me go try this out. And it was the first time in my professional career I felt passion for what I was doing. And, you know, growing up playing sports as a kid in southeastern Oklahoma, that connection to sport, that connection to a brand, that connection to the consumer, the global connection was just fascinating to me. And I got to work with athletes like Dwayne Wade, NBA champion, NBA All-Star. And from that, my career kind of took off within the fashion industry and had several stops along the way. Great brands like Guess in Los Angeles, Cole Haan, the traditional brown shoe company. And then this opportunity came along. A gentleman by the name of David Cummins reached out and said, we've got this wonderful brand that's part of the sport of polo. And it's down in West Palm Beach, Florida, which we're located. That's our global headquarters. And then the sport's located in Wellington, Florida, just down the street. And when I looked into the brand, I said, my gosh, this is the official brand for the sport of polo in the United States, the official brand of the United States Polo Association, USPA. And I thought about the beautiful places where polo's played, the beautiful people that play polo, the horses, the authentic connection to sport. And I said, you know what, this is a unique opportunity and a story that's been told, but has so much more to tell. And I took the opportunity. That was about 3.5, 4 years ago, and it's just been a great run so far.
Look back, what's the one skill that you have, because you're diverse, obviously, that prepared you for this? Is it retail? Is it finance? Is it intuition? Is it growing up near University of Oklahoma, being a Sooner fan? I mean, there are a whole bunch of combination of all of that.
Yeah, I appreciate that question. I think it was having a diverse background, and you know, I grew up in the financial side of the business, and I think that's just an unbelievable foundation to have when you run a business. But what I didn't realize, and what I appreciate more today than I did back then, is the ability to use the other side of my brain, the creative side, the strategic side, the brand side. And I think if you look at what we've done with the brand globally the last 4 years, being able to really have that rope to run with it and tell this beautiful story about the brand and the sport and the connection to sport and all the good things the brand does around the world. So, I'd say it's a combination of a couple of things.
The bedrock, and we'll talk about the sport, but the U.S. Polo ASSN brand is an incredibly underappreciated story. But introduce the metrics to this audience.
The brand has about a $2 billion global footprint. And let me say that again, about a $2 billion global footprint.
You need to hear that with a B.
With a B, that's with a B. And we're in 180 countries worldwide. And I know a lot of great brands. There aren't many out there in the world that are in 180 countries. Right. We're the official brand of the sport of polo in the United States. So we're the official brand, like I said earlier, of the United States Polo Association. We have 1,100 of our own retail stores in the world as well that say U.S. Polo ASSN. So I always like to say there's very few places in the world that you can travel without touching this brand. There's a license list that comes out every year, and it ranks the top 150 global licensors in the world. Number one is Disney. I think they do about $60 billion in business, very big number. When you look at sports brands, we're the 5th largest globally in the world. The NFL, NBA, and Major League Baseball, MLB, are bigger than us. Ones that are smaller, Major League Soccer, NASCAR, the NHL, WWE. So for a niche sport, we have a very big presence when you think about the retail presence of the brand.
Michael, describe what your brand stands for. What's the nature of the brand?
Well, as you and I talked about, it's the official brand of the United States Polo Association. So it's got this authentic connection to the sport of polo. So that's critical. That's first and foremost. And as I mentioned earlier, where the brand goes, the sport goes, and where the sport goes, the brand goes. But when I look at the brand, and I always put the consumer's lens around the brand as well, whether that person's in China, Brazil, the United States, they love the classic Americana styling. People around the world love the lifestyle that Americans live. It's also a brand that's bright, it's cheerful, it's positive, it has lots of fun colors, and so that's kind of what we always stand for. We'll throw in a little red, white, and blue as well, but that's worked really well for us around the world, and it's something that we've stuck to and will continue to stick to, and very excited about the DNA of the brand. One of the things I like to say is that we're actually one of the largest philanthropic brands in the world, because a lot of the money we generate goes back into something we love so much, the sport of polo. The
governing body for the sport was founded in 1890. I wasn't around then. I'm pretty sure you weren't around then. and the idea of the brand as a sustaining, evolving brand is pretty significant as well. Talk about that.
Yeah, what's interesting about the sport of polo is the governing body, the USPA, as I mentioned earlier, is based in Wellington, Florida, just down the street. And it's been around since 1890. So it's 130 years old. It's one of the oldest governing bodies of sport. And it's made up of board of governors. They do an amazing job. We work closely with them, and we partner on events around the country. We partner on opportunities to showcase the brand and the sport together. And as I mentioned, they're a nonprofit. So a lot of the proceeds that we generate go back into the actual sport itself to fund tournaments, to help with rules and committees, to help with player handicaps, the operations of the USPA. And so one of the things I like to say is that we're actually one of the largest philanthropic brands in the world, because a lot of the money we generate goes back into something we love so much, the sport of polo. And we do that all around the world.
And that's one of the reasons why we're talking today, obviously. And that doesn't just happen. It requires leadership, it requires vision, and it requires the ability to mandate and to push. How did it all evolve? How did the brand become so fixed and focused on philanthropy?
Well, it was the way the structure's been set up is that the sport was smart enough to say we've got to monetize this great sport and what it offers to the United States and actually the world. And many years before my time, so I don't take credit for this at all. They were the sport and the for-profits that were smart enough to figure out a way, let's make this work as a long-term business opportunity that sustains the business and sustains the sport. And then I've been fortunate enough that they both trusted me to take the baton and run with it for the last 4 years. And everything that we do, we try to be thoughtful about both the brand and the sport.
Incredibly important distinction relative to mainstream sports. And we cover a lot of mainstream sports, and no disparagement, but let's just talk about NFL, for example. Every owner requires a significant amount of capital to get in. Part of the mandate, in addition to competition and advertising and television, is a ever-growing piece of philanthropy, but that has evolved partially because there's a lot of societal pressure put on the NFL to evolve. You guys sound like you created that from the ground up, and it was a lot easier to implement because it was part of your mandate and a bedrock part of your culture.
Yeah, we always say philanthropic, fair and equitable on the field and off the field. And that's how we view the business, and that's how we view the sport.
This is one of the only sports where you have men and women who actually participate at the same time on the same field and the same sport. Talk about why that's important.
It's such an important point you bring up, and thank you for doing that. It is a sport where we say it is a sport of equality, more so than people realize, and men and women do play on the same field against each other or with each other. They can be teammates, they can be competitors. There is no difference. And what I love about the sport is that the fastest growing segment of the sport is the female portion of the sport. And so we're adding more and more female players every year to how many members are part of the USPA, not only at the adult level, but at the collegiate and the junior levels as well. So we're very proud of that. And if you look at a lot of sports, you don't always have the ability for women and men to play with each other on the same teams, and we'll call it the NBA or the NFL. But in this sport, that actually gets to happen, and I think that's great for the sport. I think it's great for our community. One more thing I want to mention on women's polo, Rick, before I forget, is that we partnered with Palm Beach County, and they've been a great partner for us, and said, let's do something that talks about women's polo and do it on a broader scale. And so we did this beautiful 30-minute show that features 5 or 6 different female players. And that show we pushed out to millions of viewers around the world on different platforms, was just nominated for an Emmy. But extremely excited about sharing the women's story in polo with the world. I realized that we had this collegiate program where college clubs were playing polo. And we said, we have to figure out a way to get involved with this.
Where I come from, people don't expect much of the person, especially a young Latina. There were countless times where I was told that I wasn't gonna make it, or that I was gonna get my hopes up, because according to them, Mexicans don't play golf. But I just have one thing to say to them. They do now.
an amazing part of this world is a collegiate partnership program. You got 44 teams at 28 colleges across the U.S. They receive attire, gear bags, and obviously financial support as well. How did this all start, and where's it going?
You know, when I came in, and this is where the Nike background really helps. Nike's best in class is working with colleges all over the country. And I realized that we had this collegiate program where college clubs were playing polo. And we said, we have to figure out a way to get involved with this. And so our marketing team reached out and gave every college the same opportunity to sign up. And the majority of them signed up the first year, and then we got more the second year, and we just keep building the program. And what I love about the program, and you and I talked about fair and equitable. Yeah. Every school gets treated the same. Small schools, no different than large schools. Publics, no different than privates. East, no different than West. And it's truly a fair and equitable program. And we provide white pants to play in, which you have to play in, white pants. Polo shirts to wear on campus, polo shirts to practice in, performance design jerseys, gear bags, and we make a financial contribution to the club as well to help them with their operations, their horses and all that. And we've been just so proud of that. And recently, we just added Morehouse College, an HBCU, the first HBCU to have polo and be part of our program, and just real happy for those guys. They're good guys, they're doing great things for the sport, and it just sends that message that it's a more inclusive sport than people realize. Whether it's at the collegiate level, the adult level, and we welcome anyone who's interested to come see us.
Let's talk about younger competition. The National Youth Tournament Series started in 2013 for players 19 and under. Again, polo is, you can't just wake up and tell your mom I want to be a polo player. So, how do you develop those kids to be polo enthusiasts and successful athletes?
Well, that's where the USPA does a great job. They've been really targeting on growing that program, and it's been wildly successful. What makes me excited about the collegiate program is that we've engaged thousands of college student athletes to play polo, to be involved, to know more about the brand. We want to start doing the same thing with the junior polo as well. So the USPA has done a good job building that, but now the brand is going to come in and even do more with that younger next generation of athletes, which we're really excited about. But we get behind some of their events, sponsor product and all that, and really proud of those young ambassadors representing us. The other thing we've done in youth polo is that we also sponsored Junior Olympics in Buenos Aires for polo. And we had 6 teams from around the world participate. 4 Americans played in that, but we sponsored all the teams, and it just showed you yet again our commitment to youth and to the sport through the brand.
The 40-goal polo challenge and the Future 10's kids match through the Polo Player Support Group. Talk about that.
It's probably one of my favorite events. The college event's one of my favorite programs. This is one of my other favorite programs. And what's great about the sport and the event, you get the best players in the world playing for a philanthropic cause to raise money for injured polo players, injured grooms, their families, just to help with financial needs they may have. And last year, for the first time, we've always been a sponsor, but we stepped up to be the title sponsor. I think the event raised the most money it's ever raised last year. There's a youth portion of it, and there's an adult polo portion of it as well. It's just a great day. It makes you feel good in your soul that you're giving back in so many ways. And there's a polo event, a charity event that night. It raises a lot of money, and it's a great cause. And there's a lot of different polo charities that are also equally great that we try to support and get more involved with. And I just encourage anyone to take a look at it. Look at polo charities, anything you can do to help, fantastic, but we love to support those. We were approached for 2 different charity events working with Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex, and Prince William, the Duke of Cambridge. Great young men making a huge difference in the world.
This is not about baseball. It's dedication. It's commitment. It's about developing a mindset in our youth. A mindset that transforms into true character. Old habits abandoned. Disadvantaged. Distressed. New fields envisioned as new opportunities. Instructors teaching life. Lesson learned. This is not about baseball. Help us make an impact on the lives of children in need. Go to ripkenfoundation.org/donations and make a difference.
The Santabelle ISP has had a Pro Cup in South Africa, a bit of a different cause, but again, it's international.
As I mentioned, I look at the brand as 180 countries worldwide, millions of consumers worldwide. And so we were approached for 2 different charity events working with Prince Harry, the Duke of Sussex, and Prince William, the Duke of Cambridge. Great young men making a huge difference in the world, and they have different charities and causes that they get behind. And what's wonderful about how they do this is that they play polo. It's been in their family. Their dad played, their grandfather played, they play, and they play fairly well. And so they reached out to us, their representatives, and said, we'd really like to partner with you guys on some events. We got behind it. We're title sponsors for a couple of the events, do the jerseys and all that. And what we love about it is that you're once again giving back to charities through the brand and through the sport of polo. And it's so authentic for us, and it just makes you feel good.
And just so we don't leave any off the list, and I'm sure we have, but the Polo Africa Youth Tour in the UK, that's all a very interesting dynamic as well.
Absolutely. So we got approached, Southern Africa, they're playing polo. Mm-hmm. And these gentlemen needed some financial help to get from Southern Africa to the UK to play some of Great Britain, England's great players. And so our team got together and said, let's figure out how to make this happen. And so we helped that team compete in England for that summer. They played a few games, wore our product, got to compete. It was a wonderful event, and just another example of us supporting polo, us giving back to the community, those philanthropic causes that mean so much to us.
Where do you see the whole world of your philanthropic efforts going in the not too distant future?
I think it's being consistent with what we've done. Is there anything new out there? I mentioned doing more with the youth, the level below collegiate. We'll look at that. We'll always look at opportunities around the world where somebody has a polo opportunity that may have a philanthropic cause. But we're just going to keep doing what we're doing and hopefully do it better every year and keep keeping on. But we've been really happy with the strategy we put in place. I know it makes us feel good. It makes a difference in the time we're living through right now. There's a lot of challenges, unprecedented challenges in the world, and it's never mattered so much as it does today, giving back and helping others. Whether it's through polo or however you can do it. If you have an interest, Google your local club, go out and meet the club. These are some of the nicest people you'll ever meet. They care about making a difference. They love their horses. They love teaching people polo.
people who watch great polo players are thinking, boy, this is a wonderful thing. I can't even get on a horse. How am I going to do this? But people who think of this as kind of inherently impossible, not true, right? I mean, people can get involved in it. People can enjoy doing it if they want to.
Yeah, I think, it's had a history of being, sport of kings, a wealthy sport. And there is an aspect of that. But what I would encourage folks to do, if you have an interest, Google your local club, go out and meet the club. These are some of the nicest people you'll ever meet. They care about making a difference. They love their horses. They love teaching people polo, getting them exposed to polo. And it's much more accessible than I think most people realize. And one of the messages that we try to share is it is accessible. So don't think it's just for the rich and the elite. It's an accessible opportunity that everyone should have a shot at if they're interested.
Can you play?
No.
Okay, so there you go. But that's the reason why he's a successful administrator, ladies and gentlemen. His candor. I am getting tons of pressure to get out there and make it happen. So well, consider national exposure on a television series applying even more pressure than you had before.
Maybe you and I go take a lesson together.
Challenge match. You're on. You're on. It's a deal.
It's a deal.
We're on. It's going to take me a little longer for me to get on a horse, but I can use one of those little step ladders.
We're not getting any younger, but
thank you very much for that too.
I've talked to people though, and this is the good news, is that there are people that in their 40s, 50s, 60s that have never played before, and they've got on that horse, they've taken that first lesson, and they've been addicted for life and in love with the sport for life. So, let's go do that lesson together.
That's what you have to look forward to, ladies and gentlemen. J. Michael Prince, I love everything you do. Thank you very much.
Rick,
really
thank
appreciate
you very much.
There you go.